All right, welcome back to the podcast. This is the Ask Mama podcast where I let the internet ask my mama questions. We're back for episode 20, and it's been a while, mama,
It
because
has.
for some of you who don't know, my name is Melody Angel, and I'm a singer-songwriter. I travel playing music. And my mom travels with me. She's my manager, and she also sings background for me in my band. So we kind of, for the last 2 weeks, have been running in
Ripping
and
and
out of
running.
airports. We've been to Germany,
Yes, we have.
Denver, back to Chicago, and now we're back with you. So we've just started this podcast, as most of you know, and we will continue to try to post every week. It might not be on Wednesday every week, but it will be every week, and we're just navigating this for the first time while I'm on tour. And so just stick with us, and we hope that you are still enjoying our episodes. But today, we're going to get into a conversation about toxic people, and in a way that how it affects you dealing with toxic people, how that affects your life, how that affects your livelihood, how it affects the stress that you're putting on yourself, on your body, and different ways that you can fight having those toxic people in your life, or toxic jobs, toxic relationships, whatever it is. How can you get rid of it? And how do you know when it's happening? How can you recognize it? So first, I just want to kind of ask you, Mama, what are the different kinds of toxic people? Because there's a lot of different kind of toxic people out here.
It is a lot. And, when you're young, sometimes you don't know really what this is. But as you get older and older, it becomes more clear. I've got a few types here that I'd like to put out. The jealous type, that's one type of toxicity. People who are egotistical, can't see beyond their own needs. People who manipulate and are selfish. The user. I'm sure you guys have had a lot of that. They befriend you just to basically use you. People who feed off drama, that's another one. People who are judgmental, excessive criticism. People who can't control their outbursts, and you feel like you're walking on eggshells to even be around them, because you never know when they're going to explode. People who disregard your values, they're controlling, want you to, the manipulation. They want to control you. People who give you ultimatums or threats. And people who are overly competitive to try to make you feel less than. So those are a few.
So basically, overall, it's somebody who manipulates. Like, manipulation is the main...
It's the big one.
The main character trait of this person. Because what the problem is that there are people in your life that, they may have opinions, but they're not toxic. They're giving their opinion on what they think from their life experiences, and they're telling you to help you.
Right.
Because they love you. It's usually like an elder, like your aunt or your mom or your dad or your uncle or grandparents. They're telling you something so that you can avoid what they themselves went through.
That's right.
That's different from somebody who is, constantly attacking you, constantly attacking your way of life. And that leads me to kind of what I wanted to talk about at first, is that there are so many young people right now confusing their parents and their grandparents' instruction as toxic criticism.
Oh, yeah.
And that is so they're saying, oh, my mom is toxic or my dad is toxic, and you're throwing that name around, I think, disingenuously, because they're supposed to try to help you in life. It's not just while you're a kid. It's your whole life. You're their child forever. And they're there to give you advice. And to look at that advice as them trying to attack you or belittle you is doing your own self a disservice, I think.
Because certainly is.
If they've gone through it already, why wouldn't you want their advice? Like, I think that we're getting this confused, because for most of y'all, it's not your parents, it's your friends.
Right.
Those are the ones that are the most toxic.
That's
from
right.
what I can see. It's the people in your ear all the time saying, girl, I wouldn't do that. And, oh, I didn't know that. And telling your business to everybody.
Yes.
And making you feel bad if you did something different, if you took a chance and it didn't work out. And they're like, man, I wouldn't have thrown all my money into no small business.
Right.
Those types of things. They're not,
That's right.
I don't think that enough young people are recognizing. I think they're getting it confused. I think they're really getting those descriptions you would talk about
the 10,
confused.
Absolutely.
They're getting it confused with parenting.
With instruction.
Yeah, advice, like actual advice
That's
that you
right.
need to be using for your life.
Right, to help you.
You looking at it like, I mean, you think
trying to
that your
tell me
parents
what
should,
to do,
They
or
shouldn't tell you nothing, and
I'm
they
grown
know,
and
that
all
would
this.
That would be like if you knew, if you knew that if I cross the street at 12 o'clock, a train gonna come out of nowhere and hit me, because you've seen that train come at 12 o'clock for 30 years.
Right.
And me say, you can't tell me what to do. I'm grown.
Right.
And I walk across the
Okay.
street and get hit by the train. I mean, that's the equivalency here. You have to know who loves you.
You really do.
I think that's the difference. Like, if your friend loves you, if your family, if the person you're talking about in your family loves you,
Right.
then they're not toxic.
They're not trying to
They're
harm
literally,
you.
maybe they're going about it, too rough for you, or maybe the way their tone is or how they are isn't hitting you right. But to say that they're toxic, you missing it.
Right. Because as a parent myself, who has been through a lot of different things, of course I want to spare my children if I can.
Right.
But, and my nieces, my nephews, friends, young people that come my way, I want to try to share with them so that they don't fall into the same mistakes that I did, if I can help them.
And that is the difference. So there's that section of what I just call the elders, whether it's your parents, grandparents, uncles, aunties, whoever it is that is your elder in your family. That's a section. Now, there is another section of family members that are genuinely toxic, but guess what? They don't love you.
Right, and those fall into that category.
And what I'm saying is, just because they're family doesn't mean they love you.
That's right.
And that's one of the harsh realities that as being an adult, you have to accept, because that was hard for me.
Oh, it's hard.
Because when you're a little kid, you couldn't possibly imagine that some of the people in your family don't love you, because you love them all.
Yeah.
And even if you still do love them all, they all may not have love for you. And that is where your relationship can be very toxic. We're going to jump around, obviously, on this subject, but I was reading about how stress from toxic relationships can just completely dismantle your body.
That's right.
Your health, your mental health, your physical health, your sleep, all of these things can be, affected by the stress from toxic people in your family.
Right.
So my next question is, how do you subtract toxic people from your life?
Well, you have to, me personally, who had to do it, I had to come to terms with basically what you're saying. They don't feel the same way about me. It's a one-sided relationship.
Yeah.
And when you're a person that has empathy, which I have a lot of, probably too much, it's hard to separate. But for your own health, you just have to say no more. I will not allow you to disrespect or hurt me anymore. If you can't come in my life and be positive and not purposely, because some of these people purposely try to hurt you. That's what they get a kick out of it. Yeah. If you can't do that, I have to separate myself from you. And it is difficult. I'm not going to pretend that it didn't hurt, that I didn't cry over it, but I go to God and I get comfort from him and strength, because in my weakness, his strength is made perfect. So I'm able to go on. I love my family and my friends that I've had to cut off, but I'm not going to allow it. You have to simply say no. You're not going to allow it. You don't have to allow it. And you don't deserve the treatment. When you know these things, I don't deserve to be treated this way, then it's easier for you to let it go. I'm not going to say you let it go that day and it never pops back up and you're not going to be hurt. You are. But you're a big girl, big boy. You have to deal with the pain and the hurt. It's more painful staying around all that toxicity than it is to let it go.
And the thing, this is, and taking it from my perspective, I, over the years, I've had to separate myself from quite a few people in my life that I thought would always be there. However, when I did, I immediately saw change in my personal life. Good things started to happen for me, and also I could feel good when those good things happen, because a part of having toxic people in your life is that even when things go well, they have a way of making you feel bad about it. They have a way of making you feel guilty that something good happened to you.
That's right.
And so it takes the joy away from even those moments that you deserve, because life is not great all the time.
That's right.
It goes up and down, right?
Right.
And if you can't enjoy and be present in the moment when something good actually occurs, that's the real loss to me.
It sure is.
And also, when I stepped away from these people, because sometimes I didn't have a conversation with them. I just stopped talking. And because you don't actually have to explain yourself.
No.
That's another thing. You don't have to explain yourself to people. They know what they did, and a lot of times they try to turn it around back on you.
That's
and
right.
So to me it's a waste of energy trying to convince them that they were the problem, and that's why I'm walking away. I just walk away and shut the door and move on. But when I did, also in some instances, I was like released, and it just kind of opened the door for new people to come into my life.
That's right.
And I have some of the most positive, reassuring, uplifting friends that I have ever had in my life now.
It opens
because
that door.
And I do associate it with getting rid of the toxic people, getting rid of people who are jealous hearted, getting rid of people who had low self-esteem, so they wanted to take that out on me, getting rid of people whose lives didn't turn out the way they planned, so now they want to blame me for it. All kinds of crazy things that had nothing to do with me.
That's right.
People lying on me, saying I did this or that,
right?
Talking badly about my character,
right?
Making me feel like I gotta fight and prove who I am. All of these things is so negative. And when I got released from it, it opened my life up. It brought good people in,
It will.
good things
That's
in.
right.
And that's really why I wanted to talk about this with you and to our YouTube family, because I think if we can reach anybody today,
Yeah.
just get rid of one person that is causing you all kinds of pain and havoc in your life, chaos, and watch your life change.
And don't worry about people lying on you. That's one
it's
thing
hard.
I
It's hard.
also have to reiterate is don't seek out revenge on people. I have never done that. But when I tell you, you reap what you sow in this world.
That's
if
right.
you don't take any other scripture, know that to be true. Because I have seen people who have done harm to people, I have seen them get it back.
Yeah.
Not from the hand of the person, but from the Almighty One, because he sees all. So one thing with toxicity, you may want to tell the person what they did, because if they ask me, if somebody that
if you're confronted, I have no problem.
And they ask me,
that.
I'm going to tell you, this is what you did, A, B, C, D, and you know what you did. But if you don't, you're free to leave. But when I tell you, when that thing comes back on that person, that's why you don't seek revenge. You really, sometimes I pray for that person because I know how bad it's going to get.
Yeah.
And I pray for you. But I've never tried to defend myself. If I hear a person lied on me, I let it ride. Go ahead. Because the truth is going to come out, and I don't have to defend it. I know what and who I am. So you don't have to go around defending yourself constantly from people lying. Let them lie.
Yeah.
That's on them, literally. They just refuse to accept it.
And that's a part of, like, that's a part of what toxic people do. They're lying about you. They know they are, but it's they want you to respond. They want you to go off. They want you to be angry and upset about what they've lied about. And so it just this cycle just continues. So that's why you got to get off the ride.
You
got to get out. And also space. Like, if you give this time, I think a lot of times when it first happens, it's so jarring to your life, because
it's
they were a big. We're talking about people who are a big piece of your life,
right?
Like I said, these are people I thought would always be super close to me.
That's right.
And always be there, that I would depend on for the rest of my life. This is not just a friend I met in school.
That's right.
And so when somebody like that
betrays you,
just the loyalty, the trust is gone, and they're not. You don't talk to them no more. You don't see them no more. It's very jarring.
Yeah, it's
and
a lot.
You really have to know that it's going to take time for you to rebuild your life without them in it.
Right.
It's going to take time. Things are going to feel unnatural.
Right.
You're going to go places and be like, man, you're used to that person being there.
Right.
It's hard. Moments come up, your birthday, an anniversary of something that occurred when you all were together or whatever. All these things will happen and it'll still hurt.
It hurts.
I think it's just grieving.
It's grieving. And it's okay. You don't have to rush through it. Don't down yourself because you feel like that. Like grief has ebbs and flows. You will have a good day. You may have some bad days. You may go months without even thinking about this human being and be fine. And then one day they'll pop in your mind and you'll feel a little sadness. But that's okay, because it's okay to love somebody. And I still love some of these people. And I'm okay with it. I'm just saying, even if you still love these people, you do not have to allow them to hurt you and disrespect you. That is on you. And if you're allowing it, that is your own fault.
Yeah. And life is so short.
It sure is.
And I don't think people really realize how much time they are wasting on people who don't care about them. they don't care about you.
Right.
Like and that's, I think it's just hard for people to accept because they care.
Yeah.
You know,
it
when
is.
you love and care for somebody, it's almost impossible for you to imagine that they don't love and care for you.
Because yours is so genuine.
Exactly. And so you have to really, you got to be real with yourself. And like we're saying, it's not an easy thing, but it is a thing that if you can do, it will turn your life around in a way that you can't possibly imagine.
It certainly will.
And it will bring the right people into your life, because you can't even have a good friend if your best friend is toxic.
Right.
Because they're going to come for that person every time.
Yeah, they are.
As soon as that nice person comes around, like, I don't like her, I don't
Right.
like him.
Right.
They'll have a huge problem with that person. So you're never going to get a positive environment with them still in it.
And believe me, other people will come and fill that gap.
Yeah.
They'll feel it. And you have to be open, love, accept who God brings in your life.
And if they have a radical change in their own life and want to come back and say, I'm sorry for how I'm open to that as well.
Absolutely.
Forgiveness is a part of this whole thing.
You have to.
Because now you're being negative if
That's
you can't
right.
forgive somebody. So if they do a radical change in their life and they come back to themselves or who they used to be,
right,
or maybe they just grow up into a better person,
right,
years later, then I feel like they can come back. Depending on what they did. I don't, I'm not going to speak to all of it, but there are instances where that person could come back if they come back to themselves.
And say they're sorry.
Yeah. Admit what they did. None
absolutely.
of this, because I've had people talk about and say, "Oh, I'm sorry for anything you think I did to you."
No.
When they pull that, I'm like, "Oh, okay. So you're not sorry."
That's not a real apology.
Because you don't even know what you're sorry for.
Right.
Is that what you're telling me?
Because don't apologize if you don't know what you did.
Yeah,
that's
if
ridiculous.
you didn't do nothing, then why are you saying sorry?
That's right.
We're wasting time right now. So don't let people play them games with you.
Yeah, forgiveness is good. You just got to make it clear, never do that to me again. But you're not even going to allow them to do it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
So,
like if it happens again, I mean, and you can do what you want. And forgiveness doesn't mean I let you back into my inner circle.
Right.
Forgiveness just means you're forgiven.
Right.
You may not ever be as close to me as we were. Because some things sometimes people go too far.
They go too far.
And when trust is gone, because trust is really huge for me.
Yeah.
Because I have been betrayed by people who I loved with all my heart.
That's right.
And
it's hard.
So for me, if the trust is gone, I can be cool with you, but you always gonna be at arm's length.
I'm watching.
Yeah.
Like my auntie say, you better watching.
But there is, I do want to go back and talk about stress, though. I think that we talk a lot about the emotional side of this, but seriously, stress can kill you.
It does. Listen,
I've seen people go from they're fully healthy, everything's fine. They let stress take over their life, and in a few months, they got everything wrong with them.
Yeah, when I was in my 20s, my doctor told me, you do know stress can kill you. So if you don't get this stress out of your life, you're not going to be here long. And his subscription for me was get a membership at a gym and do that for the rest of your life. Yeah. And that's what I did. But I still have had stress, and it has hurt me. And I know it because it's so hard to control sometimes.
Well, but that comes from how long. I feel like your stress came from how long you allowed people to stay in your life.
I know.
That's good because that's what we're talking about here.
It is very.
And I watched that.
Yeah.
And so sooner in my life, because I saw it happen to you, sooner in my life, I started to get rid of people there because I knew it led nowhere.
It doesn't.
I knew that those people would continue to hurt me.
It's so difficult.
And that is why the stress stayed. Because on one end, yes, exercise, eating right is 100% something you have to do for the rest of your life.
It is.
On the other half of that coin, because that's only 50%. The other 50% is the people in your life.
That is absolutely
because
correct.
If they don't go anywhere, the stress doesn't
it's
go
not
anywhere.
going. So you have to, I mean, literally, it really is a matter of life and death. So you got to let them go. I'm sorry. I'm not going to let you stress me out anymore. That's it. Right. I'm done.
Yeah. And I say that because we can, as Black people, we already go through so much, y'all.
We do.
Just on a regular basis, when we walk out of our house, when we're in our cars, when we're going to our jobs, when we're dealing with people just in general, we have to go through so much and play by a whole set of different rules out here in the world. And then on top of that, to have your family and your friends stressing you out, bringing you down, telling you ain't nothing, and crapping all over your dreams and talking bad about you behind your back to other family members, to other friends, and doing all this. It's too much.
It's a lot.
And you can see it on people. When I walk down the street, out here in Chicago, in Bronzeville or Hyde Park, you can see it on Black people just stressed out.
Right.
We used to be able to depend on our family.
We did.
The Black family was the most secure. It was more secure than a bank.
Yeah.
You could go to your family and feel safe and feel loved and feel seen.
Yeah.
And that is no more.
We had family and we had the Black church.
That's right.
And they both are crippled right now.
Right.
They really are.
And the effect of it is all of this stress.
Yes.
And all of this toxic behavior in relationships. We've spoken about relationships every episode of this podcast.
Right.
And most of it has to do with the toxic behavior of men.
Right.
And the toxic behavior of women while being treated bad by the men and letting it go on, and the women trying to go back and be mean to the dudes and doing this whole back and forth thing. It's just a cycle of negativity.
It sure
Every
is.
week we had questions coming in, and it was just another toxic story after a toxic story.
Relationship. Yes, it was.
Because we're not even dealing with each other anymore in a positive way.
Yeah.
Like majority. Obviously, there are people that have great relationships with their family. Have good friendships or whatever. I'm definitely trying to move towards that area. My family used to be really big. I used to be real close to a lot of people. It's smaller now, but I still have genuine family members that I love and that are in my life, and I thank God for them. No matter how small we've become.
Yep.
And I also have friends in my life that actually care for me, and that's for the first time in my life.
Right.
So all of these things matter, and it doesn't have to be, it's not going to be how it was. I think that's another thing we got to kind of.
Right.
It's not, you got to let that go.
Yeah.
The golden years or the golden age of your family and how it used to be.
Because
that's what's hard to.
It's hard to accept.
Let go.
Yeah, because I came from one of the best families, I think, in the world.
Yeah.
My family was talented, funny. Yeah. My mom and grandmother and great grandmother could cook better than any food I've ever had in my life. We had so much communion, and it was just beautiful.
And I did too.
Every holiday,
our house was filled up. 4th of July, our house was filled up. Everybody's birthday, Christmas, the house was filled up from the morning to night. Thanksgiving.
We had
Mother's Day, we'd get together.
We had a blast.
Easter, the house would be full. Like, we had the kind of family that my friends would be like, man, I want to come over your house. They wanted to come over our house to be with us because we were having so much fun.
We had so much fun.
And just a packed house every year.
And
to see us now it's pretty devastating.
It is.
Because now it's just like a handful of us.
Yeah.
We get together, when we can.
Mm-hmm.
But I am grateful for that because
Right.
I could have nothing.
Yeah, we could have
And
no.
that
Right.
leads me to my other point, which is be grateful for what you still have.
Absolutely.
It's not going to be like it was,
Mm-hmm.
but the Lord didn't leave you. You
Right.
still got that one cousin or
Right.
the one auntie or whoever it is.
Yeah.
Whoever it is,
We
you
still-
still got them.
Yeah, we still have a great time when we get together.
We do.
A blast.
It's a smaller grouut, but we still laugh and have the
Sure
time
do.
of our lives. My cousin
Certainly
Josh
do.
just left. He was here this was just Chicago Blues Festival week here in Chicago, and I did several shows throughout the week. And he came and was helping us out and everything else. But, I had the time of my life having my cousin with me.
Yes, we
did. Just for those few days. And that's what it's all about.
Right.
It doesn't, you got to sometimes let things go.
You gotta let it go.
It's just going to look different.
And be grateful for what you've got.
That's
Because
right.
I am.
I am.
Yep.
So, I know that... the Bible speaks on this as well. Is there anything biblical that you can share about toxic people or just having, less negativity in your life and just a way to tell people that it's okay? I think people think that they're mean or wrong if they get rid of people out of their life.
In Matthew the 7th chapter, it talks about know the fruit. You can know them by their fruit, what a person bears, what they produce. So you have to make a judgment call. That says it right there. You will know them by their fruit. And that's what I live by. And if you're not bearing good fruit, I know what you are.
Right.
It sounds like a movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how I do it. And I think and people can call that judgmental if they want, but that's the word. You will know them by their fruit.
And also about that word judgmental. When you're living right, when you're living how you were raised, it really affects people who are not living the way they were raised in a negative way. They do not like seeing it. They think that you think you're better than them.
Right.
Even though you never said it, never acted that way. But it is because you're living the way you were raised and you're living in your truth.
Yes.
And if they're out here living wild and doing stuff that is not right and lying and cheating and stealing and doing all of the bad things, the last person that they want to be around or the last person they want to be nice to or lift up is you.
Yeah, well,
It's
I've been
just
there.
not going. And so that to me, that's something they're going through. You don't have to carry it.
Right.
I am not going to carry somebody else's turmoil.
Right.
I have to deal with my own life, the decisions that I'm making, the things that I have to do, my goals, my dreams. I'm not going to let somebody else's toxic behavior and horrible choices affect my life.
Yeah, that's just them trying to deflect. Because
And then they'll say, "Oh, you think you better," or you always looking at us like we ain't like." Nobody is doing that. I don't
never
think
done
I'm
that
better than
to
anyone on
anybody.
earth. I have my gifts.
That's right.
I work hard for what I have in life.
Right.
And I am an open person. I help people whenever I possibly can.
That's right.
I'm not going to let somebody who is super negative try to define me.
Right. That's deflection.
Yeah.
That's their own guilt of how they're living, and try to deflect it on you. Because I live the way my mom and dad raised me.
So
and
do I.
will continue, and I have no apologies for it.
I mean, me and my mom travel all over the world. And we were in Germany just recently at the end of May. And I do this thing at the end of the show where you can come up and sign. I'll sign the CDs and the T-shirts and all the things and meet you and everything. Little meet and greet afterwards. And countless mothers and fathers will come up to us and come up to my mom and said, "Oh, you did a great job with her. She is an amazing woman, an amazing person, blah, blah, blah." They're always saying it. Because I am a reflection of everything she taught me.
And I am a reflection of everything my mother taught me.
And that's generational. That's generational. So
that's right.
You know, when I have kids, I'm going to pass everything I learned off to them because I know it's going to ensure that they become a good person.
That's right.
That works hard and does what they're supposed to do and treats people right and fair.
And equal, because that's what I tried to do with my kids. You're not better than anyone, and no one is better than you.
We never talked about people. We weren't bullies.
No, I didn't tolerate it.
We did what was right. We learned that we needed to work hard and watch out for our family.
And love your family.
That's
I tried to teach and instill that in them the best way I could.
And so, you know, don't waste your life. Don't waste your life on this negative stuff. Sometimes bad stuff happens, but it doesn't have to stay bad.
Right.
You can change your life. You can change your circumstances. You can change the atmosphere. You can do whatever you want.
That's right.
Just do it. Don't just keep complaining about it. I see so many people complaining about their situation, but refuse to take that final step.
Right. Well, you know, some people do a lot of complaining. That's toxic too.
It is.
You got to let that go and do something.
Yeah.
Because nothing, I mean, you have to do the work. You got to go through that pain, but you'll come out. It's pure
the loss
gold.
is a part of it. And everything isn't going to happen in a flash.
Right.
But I'm telling you, I'm beyond living proof of what can happen if you find, because I'm not naturally optimistic.
Right.
I have a hard time with that just because I've been in this music industry for my whole life and I've dealt with so much devastation in the industry, just going through auditions and record labels and deals falling through and the whole 9 yards. So I've dealt with a lot of defeat, a lot of failure. And that makes it hard for me. I have to really push and try to be positive about my future. So getting rid of negative people in my life was like vital. I would not be here if I still had certain people in my ear telling me I wasn't good enough, or my songs are too sad, or you don't play guitar well enough to do that, or you need to have this, or you should look like that, or you should change your hair back to straight and not do the fro and this, that, and the third. If I had those people still in my ear whispering these horrible, negative things to me, I wouldn't be here. I would not have traveled the world doing what I love.
But the main thing is to know yourself and know that about yourself.
Yes.
Then you can work on it.
But that came from being raised by my mama and her making sure I had this thing called self-esteem.
Right.
Okay? That is what reaffirmed in my head, you're a liar. I am good enough. I know that. So you're a liar, so I got to get you out of my life. That's how I knew that.
Right.
And so another thing we've been talking about for several episodes on this podcast is self-esteem.
It's so important.
Because all of this is, I mean, it comes right back around to self-esteem.
And when you saying you were taught that as a child,
Yeah.
it's so important for children to be, for their self-esteem to be big. It's more important than anything else you can teach them. Forget all the other stuff.
You told me I was beautiful. You told me I was smart.
Right.
You told me that God gives everybody gifts, and when you find yours, you go for it and you do it. And you said I believe in you, and I was off to the races.
And so with discipline, if you're not giving them that on top of it, you're missing the mark.
Yeah.
Because anybody can discipline somebody that they're bigger than.
Right.
But to encourage and build on their self-esteem, if you've got children, that's one of the number one things to do.
That's right.
You got to do it. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but at least try to build it.
When you're a kid and you go to school, you're going to have to deal with bullies.
Yes.
You're going to have to deal with people talking negatively towards your child. So you have to remember that you need to be the positive force. You know, because I had kids talking about me all through school. I was never a popular kid.
Right.
And so, but if I went through that and didn't have my mom on the other end of that, telling me that they're wrong, and that she's right about me,
that's right.
I don't know who I would be right now.
Yeah, it's very important because to not teach them that, you can make them toxic.
That's right. That's how they become toxic. Mm-hmm. And it's because it's a cycle.
It is.
And just like racism, it's learned behavior.
It is.
You learn to be toxic from somebody. Mm-hmm. Children aren't toxic.
Right.
They are taught.
That's right.
Those lessons through watching their parents.
You have to build them. And, not always on them, but build them up also. I mean, kids are going to do some
It's 50-50. Like anything else, it's 50-50. There's discipline. I mean, we still were disciplined and had to, we got in trouble. Then we were, we had to go through what we went through. We learned our lesson and didn't do it again. Right. That's a part of it.
That's right.
But the other part of it is encouragement.
Right. You got
discipline and encouragement.
You have to.
Because as a black child, of course you need a lot of discipline, because when you go out in this world, like we said before, there's a whole slew of rules that only apply to you.
That's right.
The way you carry yourself out here, especially if you live like down south or even up here up north, there are things that you have to do in a way you have to carry yourself, and you have to be in control of yourself at all times.
You certainly
You can't lose it on nobody. You can't lose your temper. No. You can't talk loud. You can't do nothing, because something terrible could happen to you at any moment, because so many people fear us just on sight.
Yep.
And so like I said, with all that weight of being black, the last thing you want to also do is not prepare your child for their self-esteem. Their self-esteem got to be strong as metal.
It really does. And unfortunately, even though you try to do that, some kids don't get it. The outside voice is stronger than yours.
Right. Something happens at school.
They don't.
And it don't matter what your mama and daddy said.
It doesn't catch. They
believe
it. And so forever looking for the wrong type of attention.
And if that's you,
oh my goodness,
you need therapy.
Yeah.
Because therapy is what you can do to rework through all of that.
Absolutely.
They will take you back to school, whenever it happened, if it happened in middle school or junior high or high school, and you will walk back through that time and break that all down that you can move past it.
Right, because if you can't, another real toxic thing is not being able to take responsibility
Ooh.
for your actions.
Wow.
So
it's always somebody else's fault.
Therapy will help
Yeah.
you do that. It's you.
Because all you talk about is you, your life, your choices.
And it's you.
And when you try to blame other people for it, was like, well, what hand did you play in that scenario though? But it was your thing that you were working on. It was your job. It was your project. It was this. It was that.
It's you. And until you can face you, which is very difficult, because that's why it's so easy to talk about others.
Yeah.
But it's you. Once I realized it's me with the issue and the problem, then I could fix it. I could face it and I could fix it. But if it's never you, if you never circle back to, you know what, I'm
the problem.
I think I'm the problem here. I need to fix this. If you never do that in your life, you are a toxic human being.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you.
Because one of the things I learned about myself was that I had a temper, and I needed to be in control, more in control, and because it put me in situations that would go from 4 to an 11 in a heartbeat.
That's right.
And I knew I can't.
This is not going to work.
This ain't going to work for me. I have to be in control of my temper.
That's right.
I have to work on my anger. Who is making me this upset? And it made me see, okay, it's because of this. The people that I was surrounding myself with was a major issue in it. And also I wasn't dealing with, I was holding stuff in instead of expressing it to the people that were hurting me.
That's right.
And when I started to tell them how they were hurting me, that's when I realized, oh, and also they don't even care that they hurt me.
Right.
And so that's what led me to pushing back away from those people.
That's right.
And so looking at myself is what opened the door for me.
You got to
just reassess who was in my life.
That's right.
And if I didn't take responsibility for my actions, for my temper, and the situations it put me in, I would have never changed.
That's right. It's very important to take responsibility. You will never fix anything in life if you don't.
Yeah.
You got to. So, I mean, the little church song, it's me, oh Lord. Standing in the need of prayer.
Oh my
it's
God!
Not my mother, not my brother, but it's me, oh
Fox
Lord.
Movie.
Is it?
Yeah. Remember with Morris Chestnut, and they was in there, and he was going crazy like he was missing her, and she was in church, just having a good old time. That? Yeah, that's what they sang.
Oh my God!
Anyway, I think that we have spoken a lot. We've said a lot of things. I really hope that you all have, taken something from this. If one person out there can see this video and start to change their life, that would be great. I know it would just open up so many doors for you. And it's never too late to fix yourself if you're the toxic person.
That's right.
It's never too late for you to reassess who's in your life and change it to bring more positive energy into your world. You got to get rid of the negativity.
Sure do.
And sometimes that means negative people.
It does.
And sometimes it's a negative job. Maybe they treating you terrible on your job. Get another job.
That's right.
Like, switch it up. Do what you have to do to be happy. Joy.
Oh, my God.
You deserve joy.
It's a scripture that says a merry heart does good like medicine.
Yeah.
And I really believe that.
Yeah. For sure.
So,
that's our episode, y'all. We're going to do some recommendations as we always do. We're going to start out with the book.
Okay.
Or no. let's do
Oh.
black-owned business.
Okay.
So we're gonna spotlight our black-owned business for the week. And my black-owned business is called the Living Fresh Market. It's a black-owned grocery store, and it's in the west suburbs, in the let me see, it's in the Forest Park area. It's a
Wow.
really beautiful grocery store, and it's called Living Fresh Market, and it's on 7520 Roosevelt Road, Forest Park, Illinois 60130. And yeah, just go out to it. It's owned by a black woman.
I'm gonna check
And
that out.
they have fruit, good, fresh fruit and vegetables and
Yeah.
everything. And so, and it's pretty centrally located. So make sure if you're in the Chicagoland area, you can visit this market.
That's awesome.
Okay.
My business is called Daisy's Po' Boy Tavern.
Okay.
It's on 52nd, 15 South Harper in wonderful Hyde Park, where they've got a whole bunch of businesses
Oh, yeah.
that are
Yeah.
good like this.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And now we'll move on to the other recommendations. Let's do books. My book for this week is called The Black Girl's Guide to Financial Freedom by Paris Woods. You can get it on Audible, or you can get the actual paperback book
Nice.
on Amazon if you do your books that way, or go to the bookstore. It's also in the bookstores too. But it's a great book about building wealth. It shows you like a roadmap on how to retire earlier, get your funds ready, and how to live out your dreams if you wanted to start a small business or anything like that. So it's a really great resource to get real good information on grants and different financial things and savings that you can do to make sure that you have financial freedom, and hopefully will be able to build what we all as black people need to be building, which is generational wealth.
Yes.
So
That's awesome.
that's my book. What's yours?
Mine is by Eckhart Tolle.
Okay.
It's called A New Earth, and it's a great spiritual book. I really enjoyed it. It helps you get centered, and it'll even help you with toxicity. But it's a really good book.
All
I
right.
enjoyed it.
Good. Yeah. He always got
Yeah,
some good books out
good
there.
spiritual books.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And now let's do music. Yeah. So we'll do music. And for me this week, I'm just gonna shout out my own project because my album just came out
Girl.
June 7th. It's a self-titled album called Melody Angel.
It's awesome.
And I've really never been more proud of a project. I'm super excited about it,
It's awesome.
people are really digging it out here on my tour, the Melody Angel tour.
Right.
And so if you want to go listen to it, definitely go listen to it on Spotify, and I'll have a link in the description and all of that good stuff.
It's
But
awesome.
yeah, I'm very proud of it.
Yes,
So,
awesome, girl.
yeah. What's yours?
Mine is Nancy Wilson's Greatest Hits.
Oh.
One of my mom's favorite artists.
Yeah.
My love has no beginning. My love has no end.
Ah,
I played Nancy Wilson
yeah.
in a production. She is fabulous, and she reminds me of my mother. Every time I hear a song by her, I think of my mother. Greatest hits.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and let's finish off with movies. What you get, Ma? Or a TV
Oh,
show?
Lord. It's a movie, y'all. I don't really like all that action stuff, but these kids got me looking at this thing called Inside Man.
From back in the day.
It was incredible. I never saw it back in the day because I don't do the action. But once I got started, it wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
Because, it
It's
wasn't
less
too
action.
bad.
It's more of a mystery because it's about a bank heist.
Yeah, and I like the thought process as you're traveling with them to try to figure this out.
Yeah.
So it really wasn't that violent. It was
Denzel.
so good with Denzel
Spike
Washington.
Lee.
Oh my God, did
Yeah.
he do? I just thought about this baby made She's Gotta Have It to this. I mean, the growth from Spike Lee is incredible. Great movie.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
My movie is actually one. It's also old because Inside Man, I think that came out in like the early 2000s or something. But
2000, yeah.
It's been a long time since I've been able to watch this film, but I recently was able to watch it. It's called Romeo Must Die, and Aaliyah stars in it. And when it first came out, when I was a little girl, I can't tell you how many times I watched this movie because I loved her so much. And when she passed, I couldn't watch it. I couldn't watch any of her music videos. I couldn't watch her movie. I couldn't do anything. And I think like last week, I saw it on one of the online lists, and I clicked on it and I watched it, and I was just smiling, and I actually enjoyed it for the first time in a long time. And she was just so talented and beautiful, and yeah, it was a devastating thing to lose. I had never. It was so weird to grieve somebody that I had technically never met, but I was a little girl, and she was just so amazing to me. And so, yeah, Romeo Must Die. Ooh. She did great. Her and Jet Li. It's just a funny, cool action movie. It was great. She could have done so much more.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I heard they were so close.
Yeah.
Her and that guy, Jet Li.
Yeah, because everybody loved her. DMX loved her. He was on the soundtrack of Romeo Must Die. And, everybody that knew her said she was just so sweet.
Really sweet. Bless her.
Just a wonderful human being. Gone too soon.
Bless her heart.
So, yeah. That's our episode for this week, y'all. And like I said, we will continue to post once a week as long as we can. Some of these episodes might take place in different cities or countries. We'll have to take this on the road with us, so we might be in hotel rooms and whatnot.
Right.
But we really want to keep this going. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and hit the notification bells to see more of our episodes. If you're listening on Spotify, thank you for listening, and keep on watching out for us for the Ask Mama podcast, and we will see you soon. Mama, what you want to say?
My affirmation today is I love investing in Black youth.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll see y'all next week. Peace.
Bye-bye.